there are going to be three things that you absolutely have to have to use Proxmox, and that is a flash drive for your boot media. You could use Ventoy. I've had issues with Secure Boot and Quick Boot not really cooperating with Ventoy whenever I really need it to. So I suggest generally a 16 gig flash drive. You don't have to use this exact one, obviously, but a 16 gig. You will have to use Balena Etcher or Rufus to write the Proxmox image to the flash drive. Bear in mind that when you do that, everything on the flash drive will be erased, so make sure you get everything off there if it's important. Next thing is, this is just an example. We're going to be using different hardware in this video. You will need a computer that has a CPU that has virtualization as a feature. AMD and Intel call them different things. VTD on the Intel side, you just want to make sure it's turned on in the BIOS. And of course, you want to have a way to control this while you're installing it, because once you install it, you kind of already done it. You'll have to reinstall again to get your IP address and everything set up. Number 3 is a device to access the there's tape on there. A device to access the web interface over your home network. You're going to want it to be on the same network. Ethernet not necessarily required, but you can do it on a laptop, desktop, or a tablet. Okay, so one of the things that you do want to make sure you do before you do any install is you want to confirm that you are, one, booting from the correct drive. This had Windows 11 installed when I got it, and it was awful. You can also confirm all of the stuff you have here. That date and time is incorrect, but that doesn't matter right now. So for Proxmox, I almost always disable Secure Boot. That is the case for just about every Linux distro and OpenWRT, pfSense. You don't need this on. In fact, it may cause problems a lot of the time, and especially if you're using Ventoy, you need to turn this off. To install anything, you need to turn this off to use Ventoy. For your boot options, you want to make sure that your USB device, whatever it may be, is at 1. In this case, it actually tells me that is a SanDisk. Sometimes it won't, but it will almost always be labeled as a USB device. If you have a UEFI BIOS, it's a lot easier. You can actually see these things and interact with them with a mouse. And then, of course, for me, I disable fast boot because I'm old and I'm slow. And then once you do all of that, you are going to hit save changes and then exit. And then you will be good to go with starting your whatever you're installing, and in this case we're doing Proxmox. Now, something you do want to keep in mind whenever you're going to be using Proxmox is you want this to be connected directly to your router or your switch or whatever it may be. Now, if you only have a like a ISP provided like access point or whatever it may be, some of them only have one Ethernet port. You can go get an inexpensive like 5-port switch like this. This is not a managed switch, this is a little dumb switch for like $15 to $20, and this will work just fine. Put your you connect it to your router or your gateway or your modem or whatever it is your internet provider gives you into the 5th port, and you have 4 Ethernet ports, and you want to connect whatever machine you're going to be installing Proxmox on to that. so it'll have a direct connection to your router. That is actually what this is, because we're using little mini form as the demonstration here. This is your graphical user interface. I always do graphical. I've never done the CLI version. I don't see why I would, whenever it's just that simple. So here's your standard EULA. Read it if you're into that. I've read this before. There's nothing really that spooky here. Just your normal open source EULA. Hit I agree. So this screen is where you're going to be asked what your install location is going to be. What is your primary drive going to be? So in this case, we have one SATA SSD in here. This is the one it came with. I never heard of this brand, but since there's only one here, now if you have multiple drives, you can set up various forms of ZFS RAID, and that's actually kind of nice. But normally in this case, I would do something like a RAID 0, because this only has 2 drive positions, but something like the 1U up here, or the 2U down here, or the 4U, or the unraid server that's down there at the very bottom, you can set up a bunch of different RAID configurations here. Today we are going to not select any of those, and then we're going to go to next. So right here, time zone, region, or country, region, and your keyboard layout. We are in Central Time Zone, so we'll go Chicago, which is the Central Time Zone in Linux. Next, this is going to be your root password. So since this is a demonstration, we're not going to do anything super duper crazy. Oh, whoops, numlock isn't on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then an email address. I'm going to keep it blank. No reason to really have my email address out there for anybody. So we can go, I have to do a valid. Joe Mama at gmail.com. It's so dumb. It should work. Yeah, because it's an actual email address. So this is your network interface. So if you want to do like NIC teaming or something like that, that has to be done inside the actual Proxmox configuration. You could do that. I don't usually. I don't particularly have a reason, but it will automatically have the primary network interface that is active right now. So if you don't have anything plugged in, it'll go to the wireless. This is a wireless adapter that's inside of it's just one of those little Wi-Fi cards you would put into like one of those little mini PCIe slots, like you see in the mini HPs. It will try to assign a available IP address. For Proxmox, I generally, for mine, I have a block set up in a notebook that I keep. I handwrite most of my documentation. I type it up first. I either print it out or handwrite it. If I type it, I print it. If I handwrite it, it goes directly into the notebook, and I'll type up a backup copy and put it in there. This is your gateway. It should automatically set that. This is your DNS server. It should automatically set that as well. This is your internal DNS server, not the DNS server your gateway is using. So if you have a Raspberry Pi that you have set up as a DNS server host for your home network, you can point it towards that. And I'm not going to bother changing this, but usually you want to have things kind of organized, because up here I have 50.4 4.5.6, and then I have a different number for pfSense down here. This is actually going to be replacing my pfSense router hopefully soon, once I remember how to set up firewall rules. That is going to be a video. And then I have consecutive numbers down here for those. So everything I have starts at 10.10. So that's a little bit more complex than we need to get to right now. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. So, oh, I have to name it. That's correct. You need to name it. So sticking with the theme of my home network, I name all of my servers and devices after things from the Battletech universe. We're going to call this one we'll call it Wolverine, because it's going to get annihilated pretty soon. So I just do everything as name.home. This is for if you have internal DNS set up, so that should work. This one is Clan Wolf. This one is Jade Falcon, all one word. You can't have spaces. One of these is Comstar. I have a machine called the HPG. Once you name it, you give an IP address, and you have all of this filled out. You can go install. I have it set to automatically restart when it's installed. It was right down here. It's a checkbox. This should not take very long. This may take a little bit longer since it is not a NVMe drive, but that's okay because it's gonna get rewritten anyway. Pardon me, while that installs, I'm gonna take a drink. While it finishes installing, appearance by the Dogo, of course. It is 198, so you're going to want to remember that because that's how you're going to access it. So if you keep it plugged in, you'll see that blue screen like that. It'll automatically roll over into your Proxmox install, and then it will continue on into the admin login, which will be popping up momentarily. You can actually access your command line from here. You can see your IP address as long as you go root, which is your default username, and then you give it the password. You can go in here. So let's do an ls. We should, okay, I guess not. This is more of a grub thing. I don't know actually what syntax this is looking for. I don't really use this command line. But we can do IP address. We could do, I think TopWorks. Yeah, TopWorks. So it's using at least some kind of Linux syntax for all of its commands. Now, here's the thing. What we're going to do is we're going to switch over to using a web browser. So let's go ahead and switch over to the desktop here. We are going to go ahead and put in our IP address, 192.168.50.198. And then once you put in the IP address, you are going to put in the port number, and this is 8006. You are going to get a certificate warning, and that is going to cause that's going to happen anytime you clear your browser data, your cookies, your cache. You could fix this. I haven't quite perfected it. I don't have an in-house DNS right this second to show you, but you can go and click on past this, go to advanced, accept the risk, and then you will be greeted with the login. So in this case, we're going to go root. It should have gone root there. Why is it not? Oh, that's right. I'm going root, and then super secure password, and now you are in your Proxmox web GUI. So from here, you can view a lot of things. This is the data center view right here. We're going to go into the host view, and we're going to talk about a couple things real quick. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to go updates, and we're going to change some of the repositories. We're going to add one. Yes, we know. We're going to add the no subscription. So we need to do that and disable the enterprise ones, because you're not going to be able to get these unless you're paying for the enterprise support. And then I always like to reload. Cool, those are there. And once you are comfortable with in here, now we're not really going to have anything in disks, because all we have is the SATA disk in here that it's installed on. So everything would be installed to this. These are your LVMs, your thin. I don't really use this. You have your ZFS pools. If you use Ceph or you're practicing Ceph, this is a great way to get used to your Ceph storage configurations and methodology. But the next thing we're going to look at is over here in the local. So one, we can go back to the machine. We can check our permissions. We can set up a bunch of stuff here. I have a plan to go ahead and release a best practices video pretty soon, and those will be in there. So two things here. So one, if we're going to go over backups in that and setting those up. Next, we have our ISOs here, ISO files, so you can upload ISOs from a URL or from the from a downloads folder. I don't have any on this machine, so I'm not really going to do that, but it's usually pretty quick as long as it's on the same network and you're on the same line speed. CT containers, so these are really cool. You can go templates and you can search through all sorts of different container types. These are all templates and they will all function exactly how you think. You can go and do, one of the ones that I use a lot is the Ubuntu server. These are all going to be command line utilities, so you'll be interacting with these as if you were in the terminal, but these are pretty nice to have. You have some Gentoo, you got Alpine, Fedora, OpenSUSE, all that good stuff. Even Rocky Linux down here, which is kind of nice to see. So those are the fun ones. And then this is your LVM information. So if you have a container or a VM, this is where you can see their disks and how they're allocated. But this is Proxmox. Again, this is a very, very lightweight machine. I did not purchase this to be a Proxmox host by any stretch. I purchased it for PFSense, but I figured I'd go and use it for this video to give a quick and simple installation guide. The rest of this video is going to be from a different set of footage with a different system, and whenever we get into that, we will it may not even be this video, it'd probably be another one, but this is installation of your Proxmox virtual environment. And the cool thing is with something this low power, you're going to barely notice it. This thing is silent. I don't even think it has a single fan in it. Or you could use this even on something like my cluster over here. I have a Ryzen 5 that's 6 cores, 12 threads, that is running some private servers and whatnot, and a couple little services here and there, but it's really nice to have a free and open source hypervisor. I don't care what you call it, it's a hypervisor. It is a host operating system to run just, you know, it is the hypervisor is the host. So it is a type 1 hypervisor. I plan to get a little bit more in depth with this in future videos, but I do appreciate anybody who tuned in, and you have a good rest of your evening, day, morning. Bye.